start. Welcome, everybody, to The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it. Episode 11 for December the 5th, 2020. And I am your host, Steampunk Star Raisin, and I'm here with Daniel from Daniel's Hot Topics. So what's going on, Daniel?
Hi, everybody. It's Saturday, December 5th, 2020. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing good.
Well, that's good. I just recently, I can't really show it because the webcam is mounted on top of my monitor, and I would have to, but actually I can kind of show it. This Dell was the original gaming PC that I was using, and I was using that for Zoom as well. I was having problems with the motherboard. It would audio glitch, and sometimes it would freeze. And I had to switch slots because some of the PCI Express slots didn't work. And then I tried to add a USB-C and a USB 3.0 expansion card, and then that didn't work. So I was having all kinds of problems with this computer. I may take it apart and try to further troubleshoot it, but I went ahead and built a new gaming PC. If you can see, that's my new gaming PC. It looks kind of like a sports car. Oops. And there's Baby Yoda. There's Baby Yoda.
Wow. Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, as you can see, God, it's really hard to. The drawback to this case is the door is really hard to get off of. As you can see, there's my Deadpool memory stick, which I formatted with Windows 10. And I added a front USB expansion. And it's got a Ryzen 5. I got the Ryzen 5 sticker on there. I built all this from scratch for a few $100. It wasn't that expensive. I had bought the case used. And I'd had the case for a while. And I just took out my graphics card that I had in my Dell Precision T3500, and I put the original Quattro 600 that came with it back in it, so that at least it's still a complete working system. And I've been transferring. I already transferred my data drive over to the new gaming computer. But yeah, it was about $400 to get all the parts I needed to build this with. If you include the graphics card and the front USB 3.0 front plate expansion, it was probably about $590 total. But I figured it's my COVID PC, because it's like, everything's shut down. Here in LA, we have an effective unemployment rate of about 50%. And if it hadn't been for COVID, I wouldn't have had the money to build this. And I really need something that's going to be reliable and stable. Like the Dell Precision was nice, but then I started having problems with audio glitching. I think it was probably one of the voltage, one of the VRMs on the motherboard was probably going bad. And or maybe there was a capacitor. I'll have to look at it. I don't have a soldering iron, but there's something wrong with the motherboard because like some of the expansion slots don't work. And so it was just really getting to be annoying. So yesterday I completed the PC that I'm on, and but yeah, I can tell you the specs for those of you who are watching the video. This is a Ryzen 5 2600 running at 3.4 gigahertz. It has a turbo boost speed of 3.9. It's amazingly fast. The chip was only like $120 with Amazon Prime Day special, and I've had it. I've had the parts since last month, but I didn't get around to building it until now. And it's got 16 gigs of Corsair RAM, DDR4 3200 megahertz RAM. It's got a 750 watt Corsair power supply because I wanted to have room for scalability or upgradability. And it has a 500 gig Kingston SSD, which is not the fastest SSD out there, but it is an NVMe that mounts on an M.2 slot on the motherboard, and it's 3 times faster than it's more like 4 times faster than my SATA SSD. It's still running at like 14, or it's still reading and writing at like 1400 megabits per second, or 1.4 gigabits per second, which is pretty damn good. It's got a GTX 1650 Super, which is not the most high-end graphics card. This is not the fastest gaming PC. It's not the fastest gaming CPU. It's not the fastest graphics card, but it's a good enough gaming PC where I could play any game out there. Like even with Fortnite, I have to tweak the settings. I'm able to do 1080p at 120 frames per second in Fortnite, but I have to tweak some of the settings down to medium. Like I tweak like shadows to medium. But some of the settings I have set on epic, like view distance and stuff like that. But I had to tweak some of the settings. So medium to epic settings, 120 frames per second at 1080p with no downscaling resolution. And it's actually pretty good little gaming PC. Oh, it's got a gigabyte. The motherboard box. It's got a gigabyte A320M-S2H. I know that a lot of people hate that motherboard. A lot of people who are computer techs or computer gaming hobbyists hate that motherboard because it doesn't have as much upgradability as some of the other motherboards, but you can still put a Ryzen 9 16-core processor in this motherboard. And granted, it's only got 2 DIMM slots, but I was looking for cheap. The motherboard was only $50. I was looking for cheap, but reliable, and Gigabyte makes cheap motherboards that are reliable. It's not, you can overclock the memory if you wanted to and tweak the voltage settings. So it's very overclockable motherboard. It doesn't have a lot of PCI Express slots. It's only got one 16x full length PCI Express slot. So you can't do SLI or Crossfire in this motherboard. Who cares? I mean, SLI, Crossfire, most games don't support that. That's dual video card configurations. Plus, requires a lot of power. And if you even find a game that will support SLI or Crossfire, it will only boost your speed maybe 5 or 10% to have extra video card. And NVIDIA has already said that they're going to be phasing out support for SLI. So I think SLI and dual video card configuration is dead. You're basically getting, hundreds of processing units in the GPU anyway. A GPU is not just one processor, it's actually hundreds of processors. And it only has one M.2 slot for SSD. It has no onboard Wi-Fi. It has only 3 PCI Express expansion slots because it's a micro ATX motherboard in a full ATX case. And the two, it's got 2 1X slots for, if you wanted to add more IO. And it's got a gigabit Ethernet. Anyway, so that's the gist of my new gaming PC. So what else is on your mind, Daniel, now that I've introduced myself and, that I've got a new configuration? You still there?
I think it's awesome. That PC you made was just so awesome. I have a 2011 model. So yours, it must be really more powerful and faster than mine.
Well, yeah. The motherboard is probably about 2 years old, but it's like new old stock. That's why it was on clearance on Amazon Prime Day for $50. The CPU is about 2 years old. It's a Ryzen 5 2600 running at 3.4 gigahertz. It's a 6-core, 12-thread processor. What that means is it's got 6 actual real cores, and then it's got AMD's version of hyper-threading. I forget what they call it, but it's basically got 6 virtual cores. So it shows up as a 12-core processor in Windows 10. And that was new old stock. The price of CPUs have really gone up. You can't get a Ryzen 5 2600 anymore on Amazon for the price I got it, which was like $120. It's now like $170. It's gone up $50 just in 1 month. With the trade war in against China, where most electronics are made, it's led to and also COVID-19 has led to disruptions in supply. So there are shortages of new graphics cards, new CPUs. Although you can get a lot of lower end graphics cards. For as far as a new graphics card, like the GTX 1650 Super that's in here, only dates from 2019. That was also new old stock. Um, the Kingston 500 gig SSD that's an NVMe that is on that mounts on a M.2 slot is actually brand new from 2020, and I recycled my data drive. I have a 2 terabyte Seagate Barracuda with all my data. I like to keep my data. I back it up, but I also like to keep it on my data on a separate drive than my main boot drive, because that way, if I have a problem with the computer, I can just put that, take the drive out physically and put it in another computer. Or if I need to sell the computer, I can just take my data drive out. It makes it real easy to do that. But yeah, I'm a computer tech, be it an unemployed one. With the economy the way it is these days, and the fact that most companies now to hire you if they're going to hire you for their IT department, they want you to have an electrical engineering degree, which I do not have. And they want you to know a bunch of programming languages. I know like HTML and BASIC, but that's about the only programming languages I know, which is not good enough to get jobs in those type of fields, unfortunately. But so who knows? Maybe this will be the start of me selling gaming PCs. I'm going to try. It's tough though. I'll have to try maybe on eBay. But so what's up with your PC? Your PC's from 2011. What brand is it?
It's an HP.
HP. What's the model? Do you know the model? Probably not.
No.
Do you know what kind of CPU it has?
No, I don't.
Do you know how much RAM it has?
I don't know anything other than it's an HP and I got it in
Okay, yeah, I take for granted. Yeah, most people don't know a lot about computers, but yeah, it's good to know what kind of CPU it has, so whenever it's upgradable. It's good to know the make and model. I mean, HP is a starting point, but HP made so many models. If I had to guess, it's probably a Core i5 or something, but who knows? Even a two, even a 2011 PC, like an Office PC from 2011 made by HP, they're usually very upgradable. You usually add a video card, upgrade the RAM, upgrade the CPU. It just depends on the make and model. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
So yeah, So how's things going with you? You doing good?
I'm pretty isolated. They're doing another curfew, and they're shutting everything down again in California. They never fully reopened, but with COVID-19 continuing to get worse, and then you have a president who refuses to do anything about it. Yeah, I know he did a press conference for Operation Warp Speed, but he has done nothing as far as a mask mandate or economic stimulus. We got a one-time stimulus check of $1,200, which I'm on temporary disability status, so I'm okay for now. But most of us who are not getting rent assistance or temporary disability status, most people that have lost their jobs, they're about to be homeless. The rent moratorium is going to end at the end of December. Some states are not doing a rent moratorium, and they really need to be bailing out people who lost their jobs, who lost their businesses because of COVID-19, but Congress is doing absolutely nothing. And Trump has been woefully incompetent, and now he's still roaming around the country like a lunatic, claiming that the election was stolen, claiming that he still won by a large margin, et cetera, et cetera. And he is his main focus is trying to steal the election, but not actually trying to help people. But yeah, so that's what's going on. I'm hanging in there. I'm surviving.
Yeah, and you said like it's getting worse, like in America. Like what you said, like the death toll is like 3,000 a day now, over 3,000 a
Yeah,
day.
we're close to 3,000 a day here in America. I'm here in North Hollywood. We're close to 3,000 deaths a day. It is. Let me look it up on my phone. We're basically having almost a 9/11 every day now. And COVID-19 is now the third leading cause of death in the United States. And it's also the first time in US history our life expectancy is going down. Yeah, like yesterday it was 2,637 according to the CDC. We're up to 279,000 deaths. We got 14.4 million people infected. And worldwide, we've had 1.53 million deaths and 66.5 million cases worldwide. So yeah, it's getting worse, and nobody's doing a damn thing about it. We really need a UBI until this mess is over with, because the COVID-19 has totally disrupted our economy, and we're like in a Great Depression. We've got another economic depression going on. Like here in LA, the effective unemployment rate is about 50%. But so it's not good. I'm okay. I've got my apartment here. I'm getting rent assistance. So I'm able to survive, but things are not good. The economy is not good, especially not here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? How are you hanging out? And I know Canada's handling it a lot better than
Yeah,
the
they
United
are.
States is.
Yeah, they're doing it really. They're handling it a lot better. Although restaurants are starting to close down a little bit. I mean, you can go inside and do takeout, but you can't sit down in the restaurants anymore.
Well, here in California, they had allowed outdoor dining, but they're going to do away with that. They're shutting down all restaurants, pretty much just gas stations and grocery stores,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I need a reliable PC. And being a computer tech, I built a PC because I need to be able to connect to the internet. I need to be able to do gaming and video editing. Otherwise, I'm going to go nuts. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go. It's my COVID PC,
Mm-hmm.
hashtag COVID PC. But and if I hadn't got the economic stimulus money, I wouldn't have been able to afford to build it. But yeah, I mean, I still got to add either a DVD or Blu-ray drive. It doesn't have a DVD or Blu-ray drive. I installed Windows 10 off a memory stick, but I might eventually add a Blu-ray drive. It'll cost me like $50 extra to add a Blu-ray drive. I'm probably gonna do that, because in that way it's fully capable of everything. I do like the idea that Blu-ray disc can hold 50 gigabytes of data. And the thing I like about DVDs and Blu-ray disc, I know it's a very old school way of computing, but I like to be able to play the movies, but also as long as they don't get scratched up, you can submerge those discs in water and your data will still be there. As long as you dry the disc off, your data will still be there. So as far as optical media, I think it's a really good way of archiving important data, as long as you don't scratch it up and you keep it in a safe place. But yeah, you could have optical data backed up on disk that gets, and your apartment could get flooded and or could get rained on, and as long as you dried the disk off, it would still be readable, as opposed to like a hard drive or even a memory stick. If it were to get water damage, it would short out and not be readable. But hello. Hello, Rockanne. My girlfriend Rockanne is, I guess, apparently joining us for the podcast. Say hello to my audience. I'm here with Daniel. Daniel's Hot Topics.
Hello, I have a migraine today.
Oh, poor baby.
I might not be on for very long because I'm resting. So.
Well, I can let you go. I guess you weren't checking your notifications.
What were you guys talking about?
I was talking about my new gaming PC, and I tilted the webcam around and I showed off my new gaming PC, and I talked about...
The only thing that I have to talk about, something that I am very excited about, it may be completely random and off topic to your audience, but if you go to this, okay, so maybe some of the people who are following me, if you follow me on social media, Rockanne_rocks, or familiar with the website Rockanne.com or my YouTube channel, I have an OC, which is an original character called 8-Foot Beast, and I set up a website for it, 8footbeast.com. That's the digit 8, not the word 8, so that people can go there and easily learn about it. And on my Instagram page, which if you go to Rockanne.com, I'm at Rockanne_rocks. This artist drew my character yesterday, and I'm like super excited about that. And I feel like maybe hopefully one day it will take off.
So tell me more.
I have some plans in mind, hopefully.
Tell me more about this character, 8-Foot Beast. Our audience probably doesn't know.
It's basically a cross between like Peter Steele, who is the lead singer for Typo Negative, and Lobo from DC Comics, and your conventional Dungeons and Dragons Goliath. That's the best way I could describe him, because he's like 8 feet tall and he has gray skin, and like the character is heavily inspired by Peter Steele, particularly in the looks of the character, and is also there's a lot of Lobo from DC Comics as well. There's a lot of resemblance to Lobo as well. So that's like the best way I could describe it. But the character is actually inspired by like so many different things. Like the character is inspired by monsters, and like the character is even a little bit inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu. I mean, there's so many things that went into the character, but I could boil it down to Peter Steele, Lobo, and a Dungeons and Dragons Goliath with gray skin. That's the best way I could boil it down in regards to
like a half-orc,
quick image.
Half-orc barbarian. Didn't you have a half-orc barbarian character in D&D?
Yes, except he doesn't have green skin. Most orcs have green skin.
Some orcs have gray. Some orcs have gray skin.
Out of the mouth either.
Some orcs have gray skin. Some orcs are black.
Some do. Some do. Yeah.
He looks like a gray orc, the way you draw him.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I'm sorry you're not feeling well. You got migraines. I know you're catching up on your homework. Did you get caught up on all your schoolwork? No.
Sadly, not yet. Not yet. Oh, yeah, the most major thing about the character is mostly only known to, like, a niche audience in VR chat and Second Life, because that's mostly what I've been doing with the character, is I've been going on VR chat and Second Life as the character, so it's mostly a niche audience on VR chat and Second Life right now.
Okay.
But I haven't been able to do any of those things because I've been editing the video footage that I took. Like, there's like over 50 hours of video footage, so but I'll be back online soon in the actual games.
You're not going to upload all 50 hours, are you?
No, just the highlights, but it's difficult and strenuous looking through all that footage to get all the highlights and doing all the edits, but it'll be worth it. There is some footage up right now of me playing Among Us in VR chat as 8-Foot on the website 8footbeast.com. Again, that's the digit 8, the actual number 8, not the word. And yeah, if you go to that
numeral
website,
8,
there is footage of 8-Foot Beast on VR chat's version of Among Us, and it's pretty hilarious.
So that's Rockanne's
and
new project.
Footage on my regular YouTube channel as well, on the Rockanne Rocks YouTube channel, which you can access on Rockanne.com. There's like more footage. There's like some there's my debut footage, and it was
Okay.
like I was like talking and playing the character.
Well, we were talking
It was
about.
pretty hilarious.
I got it.
was
I got it.
hilarious.
You're excited
All
about
was
it.
hilarious.
Yeah, we were talking about how COVID-19 is impacting the United States. As you know, we were talking about my gaming PC originally, but we were talking about COVID-19 versus the way Canada is handling it and the United States is handling it. What's your perspective on COVID-19? Unless you're ready to go.
I think that the United States has handled it terribly, and it's just I'm in Southern California, like so. We have like lockdown restrictions and stuff, and a local restaurant just closed because they refused to like obey the like restrictions, and like I follow a bunch of local bars and businesses and stuff, and like at least 50% of them, if not more, are complaining. They're like posting like memes and stuff like that about like the restrictions, and they're just venting, and they're
They
all,
need to
like,
do.
basically like begging for donations.
They need to do a
saying that
UBI.
they're gonna go out of business, that they're going to shut down.
They need to do a UBI. Hey Daniel, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Daniel, in Canada, didn't they do a UBI for people affected by COVID-19 or a universal basic income?
I think so. I heard something.
Yeah, I
about
think
that.
it was like $2,000 a month. See, Canada does it right. You know, a lot of European countries like Germany reimburse their citizens 70%. They said, hey, don't lay off your employees. We'll reimburse you for 70% of their salaries. So like Germany has an unemployment rate of 3%, even though they still have problems with COVID. It's still way down. They also had a national mask mandate, and they shut everything down for a few months, and it was able to curve the edge. But yeah, here in the United States, we have the highest death rate. We're up to 279,000. We have almost 3,000 people a day dying, and then we got a lunatic president he's acting like he's still running for president, campaigning, still claiming that the election was stolen and that he won the election and he doesn't need to concede. And his main focus is trying to steal the election instead of actually trying to help out people. Yeah, I mean, Trump did a one-time stimulus at $1,200, but for people who are not getting rent assistance, like I'm getting rent assistance and I'm on temporary disability status, are going to have a hard time surviving, and there's going to be tens of millions of people homeless the way it's going. And then you got Mitch McConnell, Senator Turtleneck in charge of the Senate, who refuses to vote on any kind of legislation except for bailouts for corporations, removing them of liability, and for exposing employees to COVID-19. And I don't know. Things are really bad right now. I don't know when it's going to get better, but yeah, if you're not feeling well and you need to let me go, that's okay. But if you want to talk more, we can.
I'm in the kitchen right now trying to make a chicken pot pie.
How is that coming along?
There's dishes on top of the freezer, so I have to like put the dishes away.
Okay. So Daniel, you wanted to talk off camera. You wanted to talk about the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So,
it was
so what do you have to say about season 2
really,
of The Mandalorian?
I really like it. I think it's like the best Star Wars we've had so far. And I think that season 1 is going to come out. Okay, like, have you ever heard of Cobra Kai? The TV show Cobra Kai? It's like have you ever heard of the TV show called Cobra Kai?
No, I have not.
It's a Karate Kid spinoff. And what happened was, like, TV shows with like short seasons, like 8 or 10 episodes, they usually wait until like they get 2 seasons, and then they release 2 seasons on DVD together. That's what they did with Cobra Kai. So I'm thinking this will happen with Discovery. They're probably going to wait until after season 2, and then they're going to release season 1 and
Discovery?
Season 2.
Are you talking about Discovery?
No, sorry, The Mandalorian. Sorry about that.
Okay. screw Discovery. I can't stand that show. But just to me, it's insulting to the memory of Gene Roddenberry and Star Trek. Yeah, Chapter 14 was interesting because they fully fledged brought back Boba Fett, which I was surprised that they actually did that, and he got his armor back and everything. And the same actor who played Jango Fett, I can't remember his name right offhand.
Tamura Morrison.
Okay, and he came back to reprise his role as Boba Fett, and it makes sense because Boba Fett is a clone of Jango Fett. And so yeah, I mean I thought it was a really good episode, but the one thing that I think is still a mystery that I have a theory about Baby Yoda or Grogu.
Grogu.
Yeah, Grogu or Baby Yoda. I still like to call him Baby Yoda. What does his flesh taste like? I mean, my theory.
Oh God!
My theory is that he's such a cute little guy. He's such a cute little guy, and he's like a reptilian like race. He's the same race as Yoda, and so. I think that, from what I understand, like frog legs and alligator meat, it tastes kind of like chicken. It's very lean meat, sometimes a little bit stringy. And so I think Baby Yoda's flesh tastes like chicken. That's my theory. That's my Star Wars theory. What do you say about that, Daniel?
He's green, so I would say he would taste like pickles and chicken.
He tastes like pickles? I think he tastes like chicken with a slight aftertaste of sweet pork.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my theory. Folks, that's my Star Wars theory. Anyway, and we have about 5 more minutes left in the podcast because I try to keep it down to a half hour. Any other thoughts of Star Wars or anything else that's on your mind, Daniel?
All right. How old do you think Boba Fett was in The Mandalorian? I think he looks 50 years old.
Well, let's try to do the math on this. In Attack of the Clones, Boba Fett was like, 9 years old?
Yeah.
And he aged at a normal rate because he, requested an unaltered clone. So, and Attack of the Clones takes place, I guess, 20 years before A New Hope. So, because that's the beginning of the Clone Wars. So that would mean at the time of Episode 4, Boba Fett would have been like 29. And then what's the time difference between Episode 4, A New Hope, and Return of the Jedi, Episode 6?
I think it's like 5 or 6 years.
Okay, so that means by Return of the Jedi, Boba Fett would be about 35. And then Mandalorian takes place, 5 years after Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, still 5 years.
So he would be about 40. But, you can tell he's got scars on his face and he's led a grisly life. He's had a rough life. So even though the character is about 40, the reason why he looks 50 is because he's got his head shaved bald and he's got scars on his face. So yeah, he's had a rough life.
Yeah. And also he was in the Sarlacc pit. All that acid was burning him, and he would probably chewed up a little bit at the Sarlacc pit.
Well, yeah, I would have appreciated more explanation how he escaped the Sarlacc pit. They didn't really explain.
We're probably gonna get that. We're gonna get that probably in the rest of season 3, and maybe now. Presumably, they're filming Boba Fett right now, his TV show. So,
well, it's like, how did he escape the Sarlacc pit, and how did he lose his armor? And he just got his armor back. So I was like, cool, they brought back Boba Fett. I never thought they were going to do that. And now you get to see why Boba Fett is a legendary bounty hunter, because he kicked ass. He killed a lot of stormtroopers.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that he would join forces.
Comics is a bounty hunter.
Oh, okay. I know you like that character. It's the avatar you use in VR chat for 8 Foot Beast.
Yeah, I guess it's the only thing that I can use for 8 Foot Beast, because I'm still trying to work through the process of making my own avatar, which is basically very complicated.
Well, I mean, yeah, the problem is you got to use like
VRChat SDK.
you got to use Blender or Maya or 3D Studio Max, and you got to upload it in a particular way. That's why I like Second Life so much better, because you have more freedom to edit your avatar, and they've got a texture editor built in.
You don't have the complicated logistics of trying to find a matching instance number. Like they have like thousands of instance numbers on VRChat for like certain rooms, and you have to have the instance number match exactly in order to like first meet somebody up on there, and then you add them as friends, and then you can invite each other. But like that first step, oh my goodness.
Yeah, we've already talked about this off camera, but I find the interface really clunky, and it's really hard to navigate. And I don't like how you can't just directly edit your avatar. Like in Second Life, you can directly edit your avatar. But anyway, speaking of computer upgrades, are you going to be getting a VR headset? Because I know you said you wanted to do that for Second Life.
Yeah, I want to.
You want to, but you don't know if you're going to do it yet?
It's growing on me, and I'm wanting to do it more and more and more. So I probably will end up doing it one way or another.
It's growing on you like a fungus.
Full body for my character.
It's growing on you like a fungus.
Yeah, I want to do full body for my character.
Well, we have about 1 minute left. Thank you, Daniel, for joining me. Thank you, Rockanne, for joining the discussion.
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
Okay. Who do you think answered Baby Yoda's call? Do you think it's going to be Luke Skywalker who appears at the end, or Mace Windu?
I watched a video on that. I hear that the rumor is it's going to be Luke Skywalker. They've already cast an actor to play young Mark Hamill.
Oh, please.
Young Luke Skywalker. He looks kind of like young Mark Hamill. I can't remember the actor's name, but go ahead.
Sebastian Stan?
Yeah, that's what I heard, that he was going to play a young Luke Skywalker, and he does have an uncanny resemblance to Mark Hamill from like 30 years ago.
Why don't they just bring back Mark Hamill and de-age him? They can do that.
Because every time they de-age somebody, it goes into uncanny valley. Something looks off, and it hurts the production quality.
I know that, but by now the technology is 2020. By now it should be perfected.
They still haven't perfected that. I mean, just look at what they did with Rogue One in 2016. Grand Moff Tarkin. Sometimes you looked dead on, and sometimes you looked stiff and looked uncanny valley. You looked off. You could tell he was a CGI character and not a real person. But I mean, I know that they motion capture with a real person, but the problem is he looked too plastic. They're just not quite there yet. The amount of rendering power you need to make something photorealistic and to do it, for 30 frames per second, and even some movies now 60 frames per second, is tremendous. And a lot of times they just do cookie cutter CGI computer special effects. I see this in Hollywood all the time, and I can actually tell. I'm like, that's CGI. That looks fake. And it's better if you use real movie effects. And it's like the actor that they had to do the motion capture for Grand Moff Tarkin looked almost identical. He looked very similar to Peter Cushing. So it's like, why did you even do CGI? We understand that Peter Cushing has passed away. He passed away in the 90s. You could bring in, people have different actors portray the same character, just like what they're going to do with Luke Skywalker, because Mark Hamill has said that he's not interested. But I don't want to run this podcast over a half hour. It's been about a half hour. Thank you, Daniel, for joining me. We'll talk more. I'm going to do this more often because it's increased my views a little bit. I need to do it more often on a regular schedule. And so it's always better when I have a co-host such as Rockanne, or if I have you, Daniel. You've always been there. You've been there co-hosting videos with me even before I started dating Rockanne. But thank you very much. This is Steampunk Star Raising of The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it. December the 5th, 2020. You have a nice day, and I will see you 25 billion years. I will.